Hello and welcome to another episode of the Align and Elevated podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allison Feldt, owner of Body Motion Physical Therapy, owner of the AF Wellness Community, and Mama 3. So if you're joining me today, we are talking about the spiritual awakening that can happen on your pelvic floor therapy pursuits. So pelvic floor therapy is absolutely an amazing way to help unlock certain parts of your body, to help restore energy flow. Now, you can go listen to other episodes about all the physical importance of pelvic floor work, and of course, having a dynamic pelvic floor, being able to open your pelvic floor, relax your pelvic floor, contract your pelvic floor is vital in having blood flow, in having healthy tissue, in having blood flow in mobile organs. The more that our organs can move, the more our reproductive organs can move, the more fertile we are going to be, the better our periods are going to be. Postmenopausal, the better our core is going to work. Well, entirely, like throughout the entirety of a woman's lifespan, the better your pelvic floor moves, the better your core works, the better your core activates. So therefore, the more protected your joints, your back, your hips, your knees, your neck, your shoulders, the more protected everything is. Not to mention, it'll help keep you continent for the years to come, meaning you won't be the, lady peeing your pants. So it's really important to have, physically a very dynamic, healthy, hydrated core. The women we often see, and like I'm guilty of it too, if I don't get pelvic work done, is that pelvic floor can turn to more of a beef jerky texture and just become dehydrated and less healthy of a muscle, even though I do breath work, even though I work out every single day, even though I'm walking every single day. The pelvic floor stores trauma. It stores stress. It can create blockages in your energy flow. So from the Indian tradition, like ancient Indian traditions, you will read about chakras. And now I'm no expert in chakras, but when I want to talk, I want to just like give it a little bit of light to just say like that exists very much so, whether you want to believe it or not or whatever. The root chakra is right at the base of the sacrum. The sacral chakra is right below the navel. And these are chakras that, when congested, can have physical congestion. And we see that so much in tight pelvic floors, in tight abdominal areas, in organs that are adhered, or there's scar tissue, or there's endometriosis, or there's fibroids, or there's painful periods, there's just more tension abdominally. Well, that's going to mess with your sacral chakra. And so I have here, I just wanted to like make note of the sacral chakra is your creativity, your sexuality, your pleasure. It's often associated with the color orange. I've also seen it associated with the color purple. So I think it, depending on like who you follow, or what you see, but from what I'm seeing here, it says orange, and then the element is associated with water. The root chakra is survival, is grounding, is stability. And when you think about your roots, it's like your feet growing into the ground and being connected. Well, we can get blockages in these chakras. Other chakras include the solar plexus, which is in your upper abdomen, your heart chakra, which is in like the actual center of your chest. You have your throat chakra. In the throat area, you have your third eye, which is between your eyebrows, and then your crown chakra at the top of your head. And so all of these chakras, I won't go through them all, but when I talk about like this spiritual awakening that can happen, you can think about it as like your sacral and root chakras just totally opening and expanding. You can think about it as you finding new enlightenment or new levels of spiritual growth and conceptualization. Everybody's going to have a different defining how, like, what is your spirituality? Really, from the months of April through early July, I was in a really dark place. I was going through a massive transformation, probably the biggest transformation of my life, and it was extremely painful. But throughout the entirety of the situation, I continued to see the light. I continued to know, like, at the end of the deepest pain and sorrow that I'm going through, I will experience this light. And, people, I sought out some healer. I went really dark, sought out different healing practices, and people kept asking me, well, what's your spirituality? Honestly, my spirituality is I believe in the universe. I believe in gods. I believe that God is within me. I believe in the cosmos. I believe that I have the power to create the world that I want. I believe that that is all within me. And I believe that I and every person has a mission to accomplish that is going to help move the world to a better place. And it takes, a level of empowerment, of alignment to get to a place where we can find what that is for you. And when you are constantly pursuing either enlightenment or spiritual development or personal growth, you eventually, you continue to consume, different philosophies or different philosophical readings or different trains of thought, if you will. And all of those can help guide you on the spiritual path. However, getting true pelvic floor work done, being in a space where someone holds space for you and your body and helps you optimize your pelvic floor through internal manual therapy, or through belly work or through body work, is a way to help unlock a new precedent, a new level of, I don't want to say enlightenment, but it almost is a new level of spirituality. A lot of times people leave here and they don't understand why they just had this pelvic floor session, which maybe in the moment didn't feel the absolute best. Maybe they were working through some hard areas. Maybe some of the pelvic work that they were getting done elicited tears or brought back an image from a previous life or a previous part of their life or a previous life. Maybe, certain parts of that work didn't feel great in the moment, but then all of a sudden they have this burst of energy and they're walking out like they're floating, or their body just feels so open and they feel so mobile. And if you allow that work to then go integrate and you sit with it, the level at which your brain can heal and then find enlightenment or the next level of elevation, if you will, is amazing. You have essentially unlocking your pelvic floor ripens your entire body and your brain and your soul and your spirit to create, to attain new paths, new possibilities. And so I know this episode is a little out there, and we're not just talking about getting the range of motion of the pelvic floor, and we're not just talking about improving the blood flow, because those things are all happening on the physical world aspect of it, but there is a very spiritual aspect that can happen when you start to get pelvic work done. And now, do you have to go through that path? No. And if it's way too painful, you don't have to. There are things that come up for people, during the work, and they either choose to share it or they don't, or they just feel it. I can't tell you how many times I've been lying on the table and tears just start pouring out of me. And I didn't even know those were there. I'm having the happiest day of my life. Why am I just bawling my eyes out? And it's because getting pelvic work done unleashes and releases all of that congestion in the pelvis. It releases stress that we didn't even know was still with us. It releases trauma that is still with us. And so the ability then to elevate yourself after you get that released, you just unlock a new version of yourself. Whether you tap into some creative energy that allows you to determine, oh my gosh, I just discovered what I'm meant here to be. Doesn't mean you execute on it. It might feel too scary to execute on what that is, but that's okay. What matters is it's there, and that's what this work can provide you. So yes, is this absolutely essential work for fertility when you're looking to conceive? Yes. When you're looking to get pregnant and then have that baby, especially if you want it vaginally, especially if you want a C-section, you need this core and pelvic floor to be dynamic and open so that the baby can get out very easily, whether that's through the vagina or through the belly. Through your postmenopausal journey and through menopause, you absolutely need to have this area open and moving. When we are congested and we have so much tension in our lives and so much stress in our lives, not only can we not be our best selves, we can be cranky bitches. And that is not fun for anyone, but also the more and more wound up and tight we get, it's like the more nasty things can grow in our body. So the more we open up, the more we release, the more we try to free our bodies of these aches and pains and have vibrancy and vitality, the better things are going to move and flow, the better the energy is going to move and flow, the less congested we are going to be. And I think that's important, and that's really important. In some of my, I'm going to thread this back to like some of my dark days. So in my dark days of April through July, what came about when I was working with my shaman was, okay, Allison, you can just sweep this under the rug, and you don't have to address it. But I'm going to tell you, she said, I'm going to tell you, if you don't address this, this is going to turn into something black inside your body. And so for me, I heard that. I was like, that's going to be cancer, and that's going to be breast cancer. I can hear it. I can feel it. And she was like, so you either choose to address it, or you knowingly know that it's going to fester, right? And this can fester and grow inside of you. And it was about the most painful thing to address and go through and try to work through. And and my body was storing so much of it. And so, but I decided to do that hard work, and going through that hard phase and tearing down what needed to be torn down and starting to rebuild this. It has been, it's freeing on so many planes. And also having pelvic work done during that phase helped me just release even further and just feel broken, wide open. And from that like breaking of wide open, you might feel down or depleted, but then you start to rebuild, and that energy comes back, and you just feel even more and more vibrant. And then you start to touch new parts of your vitality that you didn't even know existed. And so this is a wild podcast for me to be recording, and there's just what I want to get across is that everybody's spiritual journey, everybody's spiritual definitions of like what you believe in or how you connect spiritually to the world, or your journey of enlightenment or empowerment or fulfillment, everybody's journey is different. And whatever you are searching for or you believe in to help make more sense of why we're here on earth is totally valid. And also getting pelvic floor work to support that journey can just amplify the process of that spiritual awakening, that spiritual alignment. The more you invest in yourself and your body, the more you're going to just amplify, and you're going to have like a synergy that exists in your journey, and it will just go faster. The lessons will come, you will learn them, and you just move through it and move on it. And hopefully as you move through that, your purpose is comes visible for you and what you're bringing to this world. So there's just a very integral part of getting pelvic floor work done and the spiritual enlightenment that can happen. And I wish that for everyone, because if that is the case and we can be more in tune with those parts of ourselves, we are going to be happier. We are going to, not focus so much on the differences of us and them, or them and us, and whoever that is. We aren't going to focus on these aspects. Like, we will see that like I am you and you are me, and we are one, right? And so it's our responsibility to continue to elevate ourselves to move this world forward. And so wherever you're coming from today, wherever you're listening to this, I hope that this inspires you to seek out someone that can help you gain that spiritual fulfillment and spiritual enlightenment, and enhance your journey and your spiritual path with some pelvic floor work, because it is absolutely essential and is really key to unlocking your potential. I'm Dr. Allison Feldt. I hope you like this episode. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends.